Hello and welcome. My name is Michelle with Phoenix Flow Art. Today we're going to be creating a cyanotype print. So I got this kit from Jacquard, and it's 1 part potassium, which is the A, and 1 part ferric ammonium, which is the B. So I'm putting equal parts of the solution into a container, and then I will mix that container up or stir that container up, and I will use that solution to coat my paper. So I've been taking a couple of mixed media art classes, and in that, one of the areas that we worked on in that class was cyanotype, and I kind of really started enjoying it. So I just want to show you what I have learned thus far. See if you're interested in, perhaps maybe doing some cyanotype. So again, it's a product from Jacquard. It's a kit. Equal parts of the solution, 2-part solution. Put it in a container, and then you mix that up for about a minute or so, and then you just paint that solution onto a piece of paper. And that paper should be something such as watercolor or tea bag paper, or any paper that is water stripped, because you're going to be submerging that paper several times, and that paper has to be able to handle the water, not fall apart, as well as develop that print. So this is like in photography without having the high-end camera and having to worry about the darkroom. So once my paper is coated, now you can let your paper dry fully, or you can do a wet cyanotype. So my paper is wet or damp still, and I'm still going to go ahead and use it. They say if you let it dry, you should the best results if you use that paper within 24 hours. And that paper is light sensitive once you coat it, so it has to be left in a dark room. If you coat that paper and then have the lights on or exposure to UV rays, the paper will turn black or dark brown, and it'll be unusable. So it is light sensitive once you coat it. So I'm taking botanicals, leaves, and I'm placing them all over the paper. And once I have them the way I want them, I'm going to lay a piece of glass on it, and then I'm going to put clips on it so that the glass stays in place and presses down on the botanicals or whatever I'm laying on that paper. You don't have to use botanicals. You can use anything such as really anything that you want. Feathers, something you can create with paper, just anything that you want. But today I'm going to use botanicals. This leaves that I got outside, and you can use fresh leaves or you can use dried leaves. These leaves have been dried and they've been pressed. Now I found that when you use a fresh leaf off that is not dry, that it takes longer to wash the chemicals off after you've created your print. Just FYI. So again, I'm putting some more leaves, different types of leaves on my paper. I'm going to do the same thing. Put a piece of glass over it and clip the glass to the cardboard so that I get a nice seal. You want whatever you're laying on it to have good contact with the chemically treated paper. And again, we're using watercolor. Once I get my prints under the glass and I seal it, I take it outside and I sit it in the sun for about 15 to 20 minutes. Now, if you have a UV light, you can use that. But again, I just sat mine outside on the deck for about 15, 20 minutes in the sun and let the sun do its thing. I got my glass from IKEA. Actually, the longer one is a glass shelf, and then the smaller ones I just got from a local glass cutter here. And you saw my print sitting on the deck in the sun. So once they've processed, they're black or a dark green or gray. Paper looks pretty dingy. And that's how you know that it's finished processing. Like I said, it could take longer if it's an overcast day, but if the sun is out, it's gonna be it could be just a few minutes, depending upon how hot the sun is. But again, I left mine out about 15-20 minutes. I make sure that the paper turns. And then you can just take the leaves off. If the leaves are dried, you can use them again. And sometimes, if it's not a dry leaf, you can use it again. But a lot of times, I found that the chemicals kind of just take the life out the leaf if it's not dry. So once I bring them in and it's processed, I'm just going to wash the paper in a tub of water. Usually I wash one print per tub of water, but due for time, I actually put another print in. Now this print that I did was using fresh leaves that I just cut off the tree, and so it took a lot longer for this process, which is basically you're cleaning the paper, and it took a lot longer than it did with the dried leaves or the pressed leaves. It probably took 30 minutes for me to clean all the chemicals off of this piece of paper. And that's why you need to have something, excuse me, that is water strength, such as watercolor paper or tea bag paper, because the paper is going to take a beating in the water, and it's going to be in the water for a long period of time. You need to agitate it. It helps to release the chemicals from the paper. And you can usually tell when the paper is clean because those areas that are blue right now with the petals, they should be pretty much a white color. If you don't take all the chemicals off the paper, it won't be archival. And over time, the chemicals will eat through that paper. So it's very important that you get all of the color off. And it's going to be a lot easier when I get the color off on this smaller piece. It usually takes about 24 hours for that print to fully process or to become the color that it's going to be. Now you can speed that up by putting a little bit of hydrogen peroxide in your water, which is in that water. So it helps speeds up the color, the end color that the print will be. And it's turning a nice blue. And where the leaves were are now a lot cleaner. They're no longer green. They're almost white. And that's what it should be when you finish cleaning your paper. Again, I am new to this process, so if you have any suggestions or questions, please put it in the comments below. I'd appreciate it. If you want to see more, I can't even think. If you want to see more videos similar to this, put that in the comments below. So once the paper dries, I start the toning process. The paper might take a couple of hours or overnight. If you don't put hydrogen peroxide in it, you definitely need to wait till overnight so you can actually see what the true color of the paper is going to be. I always wait 24 hours. So the next day, I went ahead and in the green tub, it is washing soda, and I'm using that to bleach the print a little bit. And then in the gray container or tub, it's just regular clear water. So prior to bleaching any cyanotype or toning it, it should be saturated with water. So I'm just showing you how dark they actually get overnight. So I'm just letting the first two prints soak in water before I bleach them. And they soak maybe a minute or two. You usually bleach, you can bleach your paper all the color out or some sort of variation, or if you want to have just bleach out the really dark blues if it's not an even print. So I did something different with this one. I pretty much bleached it all the way out just to see what would happen. And when you're using any chemicals like this, always wear gloves. You can see that it's starting to lighten up. And you can tone your paper a lot of different colors. Some toners will make your paper brown, then you have your grays, turquoise. Pretty much you need to experiment, and there are books and recipes out there to get you different types of color. And you don't need to buy chemicals to tone your paper. You can use paprika to tone your paper. You can use tea bags, black tea bag, Lipton tea bags to tone your paper. So you can use things that you have in the house to tone your paper. I have a little bit of heavy blue on the edges, and that's what I'm trying to get out. And then once you create your cyanotype, you can just mount it or frame it and sell it as is, or you can use it in other art projects. And I'm going to use these in other art projects. So there's going to be a part 2, and part 2 will be what I actually do with my cyanotype, or how I actually use it, in my next video. So after any bleaching or any toning, you should put it back in water to stop the process. So after I finished the bleaching process, I immediately started the toning process. So I decided to tone with tannic acid, and I started to put it in yellow, but I thought I might need more, so I went ahead and put it in the gray. So you mix the tannic acid with the water. And when you put any chemicals in the water, make sure that it dissolves. So you might need something, and as I'm using a wooden stick, to stir it up. I'm gonna put the 2 smaller ones in there and see what color it's gonna be. I know it's gonna be a brown. I just don't know how dark of a brown it'll be. Tannic tends to change things to a brown or sometimes a plum color if you have blue under it. In the yellow tub, I'm going to put some citric acid in it at some point in time. And you can just get this at Amazon. Or like I said, you can just use things that's in the house to get you the same effects. And the citrix actually turns things to a turquoise color. And that can be a turquoise green or a turquoise blue, depending upon the color, the print. And so that's the big difference, comparing the two from what it was after I bleached it to currently what it is. I wanted a little darker, so I dropped it back in. And that citrus actually can be used, I got it off the shelf in the grocery store. It says you can be used to clean products, or you can use it to make candy, and it's edible. Agitating always helps to get the color in the paper or get the color out of the paper. Hope you found something useful in this video, since it's my first video on cyanotype. And again, watch part 2, and then you'll see how I use some of these cyanotype prints that I've actually created. Thank you for watching. Phoenix Flow Art, creating is what we do.